Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Well, 78 years to the day after sacrificing his life to save his mates, Edward Teddy Sheehan is tonight among the rarest of company. The Tasmanian has become the first Australian naval officer to be awarded the Victoria Cross, with his actions considered the benchmark of valour.
Finally, Gary Ivory could feel what he'd fought so hard for. Victory at last for his uncle, Edward Teddy Sheehan.
It's real. As soon as you go, oh, that's real, and it's a real eerie feeling. I can't explain it, but it's just that I feel that he's up there and he's acknowledged that we've got it.
His story resonates because of Australians we continue to see and hope to see part of Teddy in the world around us. Selflessness, loyalty and honour.
Teddy's defiance of calls to abandon ship to go down fighting had become legend, but not verified until new evidence came to light in Japanese military records earlier this year.
As the Armidale slipped below the waves, he remained strapped to the gun, serving his country and his mates to the last beat of his heart. He was 18 years old.
But it took 30 years of campaigning and setback after setback before today's ceremony would be forthcoming.
We have witnessed an outpouring of emotion. Linda and I saw this emotion on the faces of Teddy's family last week in Tasmania. We've seen it on the faces of veterans and of our modern sailors, and on the faces of serving members of the Army and the Air Force, all who have celebrated this announcement.
From home in Tasmania, a tribute from the young voices of Hobart. Likewise in Canberra, the unmistakable sound of the last post in Teddy's honour. His Victoria Cross will be donated to the Australian War Memorial.
The name Teddy Sheehan now is going to be a big part of our folklore, as far as I'm concerned, and a big part of our history. So that's probably what it means to me more now, that he's going to be remembered forever.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
9 months of border closures will finally come to an end on Thursday when Tasmania opens to South Australia. Anxious families will be reunited for Christmas, while businesses are increasing staff and hours ahead of the arrival of extra tourists.
At Beauty Point, there's been a spike in tourists. Platypus House is at last running 7 days a week.
And it's just been a different feeling. We've got a great feeling that this is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Closed for 100 days this year, cancelling bookings kept Sharon BERRYMAN busy.
And now I'm seeing major bookings, which has been really great. It's just my whole morning has been dealing with bookings this morning.
Open borders mean open doors for tourism businesses. Today, the Premier announced when the final COVID wall will fall.
Tasmania will reopen its borders to South Australia at midnight on Wednesday. That's 12:01 a.m. this Thursday, the 3rd of December.
Ending 9 months of heartache and isolation and allowing separated families the chance of a Christmas reunion. However, those who have been to COVID hotspots identified by SA Health will still be excluded, and the warning remains.
We will scale up or scale down swiftly in response to cases and outbreaks should they occur.
A free contact tracing app has also been released by the state government for venues to use. From December 15, the number of places required to take details will also increase.
We'll be widening the requirement for places of worship, for cinemas, entertainment venues, casinos, galleries and museums.
There's concern as average testing numbers fall to 200 a day, but confidence our health system is better prepared.
Certainly in terms of rapid response, in terms of a cluster or an outbreak, there are certainly robust systems and processes in place.
An independent report into the Northwest outbreak is now in the hands of government. There are calls for it to be released immediately.
But the fact is the community's waited long enough, and if there are things that we can learn right now and put into place right now to protect the community should there be another outbreak, we should do that without delay.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
A port worker has been forced to jump to safety from a forklift as it plunged into water off Burnie. The freak mishap causing a logistical nightmare for transport company Toll, with its ship unable to be unloaded for half of the day.
What was meant to be a routine day of delivery at the Burnie port was anything but. At 7 this morning, plans began to sink as a 35-tonne forklift tipped into the ocean. The driver uninjured as he jumped from the ill-fated vehicle prior to impact. Tasport's mobilising environmental response equipment surrounding the perimeter with fears of an oil spill. The headaches kept coming with the vessel Victorian Reliance secured alongside the berth, however not in its final position to enable unloading of cargo. This took its toll on transport operations, bringing trucks and truckies to a standstill. By 1:30, the hull was heaved open and the containers hauled off the ship. The next challenge for Toll, retrieval of the drowned forklift. It's expected a crane will winch it out later tonight. What caused it to end up at the bottom of the ocean is now the subject of a WorkSafe investigation. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's Police Minister has been grilled in Parliament over his knowledge of alleged pedophile nurse James Griffin. Labor and the Greens want to know why Mark Shelton withheld his knowledge of the allegations for a year before other ministers were alerted. The minister says it would have been inappropriate to disclose the details.
It is completely irresponsible to suggest that, for me, the Minister for Police should interfere or disclose matters that are, of course, still subject to a serious and ongoing investigation.
These are huge flaws, and we cannot wait to the end of a commission for inquiry for these processes to be fixed up.
The Greens also questioning why Mr Griffin was able to continue working 3 months after allegations came to light. A woman accused of murdering her mother in her South Launceston home last year has been refused bail. Police allege 47-year-old Natalie Marr murdered her mother, Veronica Corstefine, by smothering her face with a pillow before fleeing to Western Australia. She's been remanded in custody and will reappear in court in February. Hobart has once again taken out the unfortunate title of least affordable capital city for renting in Australia. The Rental Affordability Index found in the past 5 years prices have increased by 37%. More households across Tasmania are paying more than a third of their income on rent. The state's peak housing body is now calling for more homes to be set aside as affordable social housing and for more support to be offered to tenants. Meanwhile, there's more help on the way for home builders, with the state government's $20,000 grant scheme extended. The popular program will now run until March next year. Eligible Tasmanians can snap up grants totalling $35,000 if they combine the deal with a similar federal government incentive. Well, Tasmanians are being warned to brace themselves for damaging winds overnight, with a severe weather warning in place for most of the state. To explain more, our reporter Meg Sides is in Hobart and joins us now. Hello Meg, now what can we expect tonight?
Well, Kim, as you can see, the wind is really starting to ramp up here, but it's set to get a lot worse overnight. Almost the entire state will bear the brunt of these strong gusts, and we've been warned they could wreak havoc across Tasmania. Meanwhile, despite it being the first day of summer, snow is expected to fall down to 800 metres earlier tomorrow. Now, to prepare for these conditions overnight, people are being advised to secure any outdoor furniture.
And that'll bring gusts of around 100 kilometres per hour to many parts, which is enough to do some damage and, drop some limbs and fly some trampolines around. So we're about to see that overnight tonight and tomorrow morning.
And Kim, while we have had a burst of warm weather over the past month, that's going to be put on pause. The temperatures are going to cool right down over the next week.
And with that windy weather on the way, the Tasmania Fire Service has declared a statewide fire permit period will begin on Friday. Emergency services are urging landowners to remain vigilant with an increase in escaped private burns. From Friday until the end of the bushfire season, anyone wanting to light a fire in the open will need a permit. The Parks and Wildlife Service also warning visitors to keep watch over their campfires.
Last year we had 110 instances of unattended campfires throughout our parks and reserves. Already this season we've been finding unattended campfires.
It is summer. It's now time to be conscious of the risk. We are at risk, nevertheless. We'll have a normal bushfire season, which will mean 3 or 4 major fires.
If a fire does escape, call 000 immediately. Tasmania's search and rescue team has been bolstered thanks to some new recruits. 7 highly trained crew members are in the final stages of their gruelling training to become part of the specialised helicopter team.
If you get lost in the wilderness, these are the people coming to your rescue. These police officers undertaking 6 weeks of intensive training, hoping to join Tasmania's search and rescue air crew.
It's quite a sought after role to be in, so as a result of that, a lot of people apply.
Only 2 making the cut. They're now in the final stages of the gruelling course.
I found it really challenging. Last week we had a water rescue assessment which required us to extract a number of persons from in the water and out of a life raft in Storm Bay in some quite challenging conditions.
The rigorous program including wilderness survival.
Obviously we operate in some horrendous conditions at times, so we do conduct our training in that environment.
If they pass the training next week, they'll join the 5 intensive care flight paramedics as the newest recruits to this specialised team.
We are on call 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That does impact on your family life and your personal life, but it's a sacrifice each member of the team makes, and we all do it because we enjoy it.
But Constable Brian Powell says he's had some preparation.
Yeah, I've got kids, so it shouldn't be too much trouble there.
Meg Signs, 7 Tasmania News.
On the first day of summer, Tasmania's surf lifesavers have officially launched their season. The next generation of volunteers spent the morning brushing up on their skills, learning how to keep themselves and others safe in the water. From this weekend, more than 800 surf lifesavers from multiple clubs will be out in full force, patrolling the beaches and waterways.
14 beaches around the state that we patrol, but more importantly we've got our marine rescue units and our emergency response teams that support Tas Police in search and rescue exercises.
The group's top tips to staying safe include watching weather conditions and being aware of your limits.
For the first time, all 3 racing codes will form part of the Tasmanian Summer of Racing. 24 meetings incorporating harness, greyhounds and thoroughbreds have been locked in for the season.
I think it's been a long time coming. We've tried to do it in the past and had challenges with execution, but I think this year with Ladbrokes and with all the clubs on board, I think we've got it right.
It's brilliant. We're all incorporated together and we're all in the racing industry together, so it makes us all one big team, really.
The Summer of Racing will kick off in Sprayton on Friday and finish with a meeting at the Devonport Showgrounds on February 26. To archery, Tasmanian Sarah Haywood has made the National Recurve Development Squad, which means she's well on track to make the top-tier squad in the coming years. Likewise, Tasmanian Kevin Faulkner is showing strong improvement, named in the National Para Development Squad. And 3 Tasmanians have held their spot in the Kookaburra squad. Veteran Eddie Ockenden will clock up his 15th year in the team. Josh Belts and Jack Welch have also been named. The team is scheduled to take on New Zealand in April, while the Olympic squad will be announced later next year.
Good evening. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the first day of summer as much as I did. The time of the year we look forward to some nice, warm, balmy and calm weather. Well, it got a little bit warm. Friendly Beach is the top today with 29 degrees, Hobart 26, Launceston 21, Burnie and Devonport 18. Temperatures were up to 6 above average over the east and southeast. Campania 27, Flinders Island 26, St Helens and Bushy Park 25, Grove 24, King Island 21 and Strawn 20. But of course the winds did pick up this afternoon as the cloud band moved over the state, accompanying that cold front which will cross tomorrow. Cloud spreads back over Victoria with more linking to cloud over the far northwest of the country. A lot of cold air to the southwest of us. Tomorrow the cold front arrives while a high over the Bight extends a ridge over the southern mainland. Here we go. This is where the trouble is. The winds westerly are 25 to 35 knots, reaching 40 to 50 knots over the south in the morning, gradually easing in the afternoon. Swells to 8 metres. That's a big sea in southern waters. A severe weather warning has been issued for damaging winds for most of the state. In the morning, a storm force wind warning from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point, a gale warning for remaining coastal waters and the southwest lakes, a strong wind warning over the central lakes. Also, a warning to sheep graziers and more importantly their sheep for many grazing districts, a bushwalkers alert for the western and central plateau. Now, here's where the forecast starts to get a little bit worrisome for the rest of the week. 17, morning showers and winds for Hobart. Geefston 16, 15 the top for Bothwell. Launceston expecting a high of 20, mostly sunny in the afternoon. Devonport very windy and 17, 19 the top for Cressy. Burnie expecting a high of 17, partly cloudy, showery for Strawn, 16 the high, 16 for Curry. St Helens tomorrow, up to 21 degrees, partly cloudy for Swansea, lots of wind about, and 19 the high for Orford. UV very high at 10. On Thursday, showers over the west, south and central areas. A similar pattern into Friday as showers contract to the southwest. And on Saturday, the rain back and increasing in strong northerly winds. Further north and sunny in Perth, 26 there. Adelaide, Melbourne and Sydney cloudy. A warm day for Brisbane. A storm possible in Darwin. And it's getting pretty nasty out there at the moment. The winds have picked up, 16 in Hobart, 17 in Launceston, 16 in Devonport.
And that's your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Good night.